Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful world. Welcome to Lunch with Joy. Today, I want you to start thinking. Imagine a world where AI makes life altering decisions about your career, healthcare, and financial future. But those decisions are based on biased data. Guess what? That's what's happening right now. That's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to be talking about what we can do to make sure that we are not being judged or evaluated based on a system that is automatically going to be biased. Because everybody in the world has got some kind of a bias. There is always going to be a bias, and AI is learning from what we have out there in the world, all the things that we have written. And there are many things that are going to be skewed to the right, skewed to the left, skewed to the middle, skewed upward, skewed down. It's going to have some type of bias. Does that make it right or wrong? No, it makes it the way it is. But AI does not know how to evaluate whether something is a little bit left or a little bit right or a little bit up or a little bit down or what it is doing. Therefore, AI just has to pull all this information together and spit it back out. Well, that's what AI is doing. We need to know just what is happening, why it's happening, how it's happening, and where it is going. According to statistics, a study, 2024 Berkeley Haas Center Study analyzing 133 AI systems, 44%, 44, almost half of them, showed gender prejudice. That's from a Forbes study that was just published October 2024. Is that scary or what? And at the same time, the World Bank chief economist has authored a study and authored some information that says that if we are able to close the gender gap in AI so that it is not going to be giving us that huge skew, we will be able to raise global GDP, gross domestic product, by 20%. Is that going to do something to help the problems we're having with inflation? You better believe it. It is definitely going to. And what that needs to be happening, where that needs to come from, is you and me. We are the ones that have got to decide what we are going to do and how we're going to do it. How we're going to make AI work for us instead of us working for the AI. Again, this goes back to my big sticky point. You always need to check what AI is saying, how it is saying it, where it's saying it, where it is putting it, and if that is appropriate for where you're at, what you're doing, and what's happening for you. You need to make sure that you understand the information that's coming from your AI. You cannot, please put on the shelf the idea that you can just go and take whatever AI gives you and publish it. That is beyond scary. Typically what I do, and I've told you this many times, I start by writing for myself. I'll ask AI to give me an outline or something like that. And then I take the research and I take the information and I create I first go back to check to see that the sources that it's giving me are correct and that the words that it's giving me are correct. And then I will take all of that information, compile it, hone it down, and give it back to AI in my written form and say, make it better, clean it up, make it so that it flows better, make it so that it's more understandable, make sure that it's at a fifth grade reading level. Because unfortunately, the average reading level for just about anywhere is about fifth grade. So we need to make sure that we are talking to and not talking, we're talking with and not talking at our prospects. Because if you talk at them, they're just going to say, oh, I don't understand that. Goodbye. Okay, gone. They check out. You want to be keeping them with you and make sure that what you are saying, they are comprehending, they are working and accepting, and that it is going to give a positive impact on their business. Not just because it's going to impact you positively, but it's got to be that we impact their business positively. That's where the bottom line is. Because it's the old WIFM. What's in it for me? That's what everybody wants to know. And if you give them something that you cannot support, I talked the other day about the potential problems. You give them something that's incorrect, and we had a company that made a 1% error in a pricing. 1% in error in their cost that they put into their pricing. And that 1% cost them 8.4% in losses. It doesn't take a whole lot to make something wrong. It can be just a little bit wrong, and we end up making a bad decision that affects our pocketbook, that affects our pocket, the money that's in our pocket. We want to know that the information that we are putting out, the information that we are quoting, the information that we are working with for our business is correct. That is going to be the honest to goodness reality that we could create a Bible and set that on a Bible and say, okay, this is it. And I'm Christian, so I talk about the Bible, whether you're Muslim, you Quran, whatever your religious that you would swear on, whatever your religious manual is that you swear on, that's what you want to be able to do. You need to make sure that everything that you say, everything that you do is going to end up giving you what you need and what you want. And you don't want it to hurt you or hurt somebody else. Right now, today, we have got a truth crisis. A trust crisis. No, it is a truth crisis and a trust crisis. Unfortunately, too many people have heard and know about the problems with AI. And so you've got many people that just tend not to trust much of anything. And as a result, people are investigating more of what is said. They don't just believe something because somebody speaks it. It's not always the truth. Our politicians, we know that with them. That half the words that come out of a politician's mouth are usually wrong. They're not right. So people have learned that, and they want to know if they can trust this. I have a reputation that I have built over the last 40 years on being very honest and very trustworthy. I don't ever want to mess that up. And therefore, I always want to be checking everything that I get from AI to make sure that it is truthful, that it is correct, and that it doesn't have blatant bias. because I'm one of the generation, one of the people that is generally going to be thought about as having a bias. The bias is going to be against me because one, I'm a woman, and two, I'm blind. And that's two strikes against me to start with. And boy, oh boy, if you are a woman out there, we have been beaten on, trotted on, we have been walked over, put down, more than we want to begin to believe. A lot of us have been able to overcome that. We have dealt with it by being able to live our lives and being able to continue moving forward, but not everyone. I was working with a young gal a couple of weeks ago, and she is so 20-year-old, 21-year-old. She is so frail. She is, I swear, a strong wind is going to knock her over and lay her down forever. She, if it was too strong, she's not going to be getting back up because she is that frail. And if she is that frail, we do something biased against her, she'll just lay down and say, okay, no problem, goodbye, and won't know that she can stand up. She will just lay there and play dead. But we don't have to do that to people. We can create a system that is going to make sure, and we can put our checks and balances into our system that makes sure that everything that we are doing comes out as ethically as we potentially can make it. And ethically meaning fairness for me. The biggest part of ethics is fairness for everyone. Not skewed one way or another, but fairness for everyone. Are there things that women do wrong? Yes. Are there things that men do wrong? You better believe it. Everybody is going to do something wrong. That's just part of being human. It's our human nature. And we just need to be aware of that because it's through the things that we do wrong that we learn. Because that's the only way. If you don't make a mistake, you're never going to learn anything. You'll never figure out how to do something better, how to figure out how to make this a different way or look at it a different way. We do not have that ability unless we fall down. We fall down, we just got to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and start all over again. Yeah, it's an old saying, but it's so true. Every one of us has to do that. We need to go through this because if we don't, we're just cheating ourselves. We're cheating ourselves and not allowing ourselves to be in there and be part of the solution as opposed to the cog that is stopping the wheel from turning. Oh, I've got to. Where does it? For this came. Oh, this came. Yes, this came from the article in Forbes. The Ford's article 2024. They've done some very. They've done some very, very interesting things and some very important studies. One that impresses the dickens out of me, most because I'm a woman, but this happened to show that companies that have got senior management that is 30% female end up showing 15% higher profitability. Do you hear that? Yes, that is true. If you have 30% women in your senior positions, you will have a 15% a likelihood, not going to have it's not a given, but you've got a very good likelihood of it being 15% higher. for your profitability, your bottom line. But you don't want to bring a woman in just to be bringing a woman in there. If you bring a woman in that's not qualified, she's no better than anybody else. You want to bring qualified people to help you. If you don't, shame on you. It's just going to be, it's another statistic. I happen to have been way back, years ago, way back in the 70s, I was one of those statistics. General Motors decided, particularly Chevrolet, I was hired by Chevrolet, they decided that they were going to bring, fortunately, they were bringing qualified women in, but they were bringing qualified women into their finance department at what they called, I don't remember, it's either a level 5 or a 6. 7.5 is when you become unclassified. You go into that higher echelon ranking. And they brought us in. They brought 6 women in that they had slated for us to go right straight to the top. I was one of those. The problem was they didn't have enough work to keep me busy. And I left because I couldn't stand. I created all kinds of things and wonderful things, and I was told a number of years later that's one of the big projects that I created they were still using. But it was, yes, I have that skill and that ability, but they weren't using it. I was one of their statistics. They were going to use this to be able to show we're doing good because we brought these women in and we're doing good for these women, even though it was an old boys network. And we don't want to just be part of the old boys network. We want to be part of the growth, the newness, and what is really going on and what's really going to happen and become the answers for the challenges that we're facing. We need to make sure that we have got the diverse team. And I'm not talking the DEI. That is not going to be the diversity just to put numbers out there. We need to have quality. The numbers, the people that come in need to be qualified. You don't want to put somebody in a position just to be able to be a statistic. I was a statistic and I did not stay. I left there. I went on and did great and wonderful things. I took over a company event within a year and managed them getting out of bankruptcy. But that was what I did. That was me. You've got to make sure that what you are doing is going to give you that ability to have all of your scenarios covered and be able to look at a conglomeration of everything coming together. Not just one idea or one particular way of thinking. You want it all to come together so that when we come out of this situation out to the world is going to look at us and say, wow, look at them. They are so good. Look what they're doing. Not only are they using the diversity among race, gender, ethnicity, everything else, but they are also using the ability for finding the people that have the best abilities to do what they need them to do. And that's what is going to make the difference. It's not the statistics. Statistics will never make a difference. They're just numbers. And numbers mean nothing. I can give you numbers right and left, but numbers don't mean anything unless they are tied to something. You have to be able to check those numbers, just like I'm telling you to check what AI is giving you. Make sure that AI is not giving you a hallucination or a thought that it may come up with and that it just created. You want to be able to know what you are doing, where you're going and what is happening. You need to have the ability to create the ethical framework for all of your decisions, for all of the things that you're doing. Not just a sort of here maybe, but for everything, so that you bring in what is going on and what is happening. You need to be able to deal with everything in the world that is going to be happening and going to be shared with you, with your customers, and with your prospects. You want to know what you are doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and where you're doing it, because that's going to give you the ability to make the quality decision that is going to fill your pocket with cash, with the profits. The profits will be there because of your taking care of the entire wholeness of your company. Not just a little bit, but the whole company, the whole business, knowing all the things that are going on. You need to be able to deal with everything, not just one thing, but everything. And that's the reason that I bring people around me that know more, that are better in a lot of areas. I'm not good at everything. I've got certain qualities that are really, really top notch, and I've got others that are right down here. But if I bring people around me and I surround myself with people that are smarter than I am in those areas, I look good because I brought them in. I had a boss teach me that way many, many years ago. I was working for a garbage company. Yes, I said that. I was working for a garbage company. And it was one of the big three garbage companies. And no, it wasn't Browning Ferris or Waste Management. It was the other one that is no longer in business. But it doesn't make any difference. I was there and they didn't use me. When I left there, that's when I went to GM and became the statistic, because GM was hiring statistics. And they didn't keep me because they could not keep me going, could not keep me occupied, could not give me enough to think about and to work with, that I left them and took a job with took the job with the real estate conglomerate. But it's something that you need to be able to do to make sure that your systems, that your business, that everything that is running it is going to be the absolute best. We need to look at and ask ourselves this question: are we building AI systems that reflect our best values or perpetrate our worst biases? Let me repeat that. Are we building AI systems that reflect our best values, or are we perpetrating our worst biases? I want you getting your best values out there. I want you to be able to, if you're as proud as I am about being as honest and forthright as I am, I want that to be able to be one of those pillars that you just plant in the ground, and that's what you're known for. You are known, and everybody knows that if you say something, it may not be perfect, it may not be right, but it's as good as you can do right now. That's with the best of your ability. You've done the work to check it and make sure that you've got as much information as possible. We're all going to make mistakes. We always are going to make mistakes. But you need to look at and you need to work with. So my assignment for you today is to take that question, to take my question: are we building AI systems that reflect our best values or perpetrate our worst biases? And I would like you to write an answer. It doesn't have to be a novel. I just would like a few words as to how you feel about that. How are you doing and what are you doing to make sure that you are taking care of your business and making sure that you are not abusing somebody else's business, because that's where we end up doing our best. So, if nobody's told you yet today that they love you, let me be the first. I love you because you are you, and that is so very, very special. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to all my ramblings and thoughts on AI. And whether you like it, dislike it, or not, make put your comments, write your comments in the chats, in with the write up on this talk, because I would love to hear what you are thinking. What is your belief? Where are you at? And make sure that you like, share, and trust. Like, share, and trust. Yes, I'm talking about trust today. Like, share, and subscribe, and ring that bell so that you'll get to know when we are publishing another article, when we're publishing another video, the article too. But anyway, I love you. Keep coming back. I will see you on Monday. Make sure you have a great weekend and stay warm. It's getting cool in many places, so just make sure you keep the warmth and keep on keeping on, because I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Monday, and we'll talk on Monday. Love you. Take care.